A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. $939 million US. That was the tourist spend in Barbados in 2014 as the island recorded an increase in arrivals from several source markets. The announcement from Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport, Senator Irene Sandiford-Garner, in a State of the Industry address at the Lord Erskine Sandiford Centre yesterday.
The tourism sector is starting to improve, according to Senator Irene Sandiford-Garner, and she has the figures to prove it. She says arrivals from the United Kingdom increased by 7.9% up to the end of October last year, while Europe increased by 8.3%. The island recorded growth of 16.6% for the month of December alone for the UK, Germany and Brazil markets. The same could not be said, however, for the US and Canadian markets, which both recorded declines of 2.7% and 3.5% respectively. Senator Sandiford-Garner says this decline was as a result of the loss of the direct American airline flight from New York and Air Canada operating a smaller aircraft. But she says things are looking up with increased airlift in 2015.
I already mentioned Delta out of New York and Atlanta and the AA Red Eye out of Miami. JetBlue is projected to add a further 9,000 seats out of New York. Air Canada is expected to increase capacity by 41%, or 2,010 seats, out of Montreal through the addition of a third weekly service. Capacity out of Toronto is expected to increase by 8%, or 5,015 seats, through the introduction of the B777, as I mentioned earlier, with these 270 seats. Out of the UK, which is our strongest market at present, British Airways is going to add 2 more flights per week, so they're going to bring their total flights to 12.
Barbados also recorded a decline from the Caribbean market of 10.8% up to last October. Senator Sandiford-Garner says officials, however, recorded an average increase in the length of stay from 7 days to just under 12. She says the region's efforts in reducing the air passenger duty have been bearing fruit, and it is now more affordable for a British family to come to Barbados.
The Chancellor has announced in his December 3, 2014 autumn statement the abolition of APD for children under the age of 12 from May this year, 1 month after the current 4-tier APD system is simplified with the 2 bands, reducing APD on fares to the Caribbean and other long-haul destinations to the same rate as that to the US. And the tax will be abolished to children under 16 in 2016. The announcement, of course, has been welcomed by the Caribbean diaspora.
The overall projection for 2015 is that arrivals will increase by 4%, or just under 21,000 visitors this year. Lisa Lord, CBC News.
There could be widespread industrial action in Barbados next Tuesday. The Executive Council of the National Union of Public Workers has sanctioned the action in support of retrenched National Conservation Commission workers. However, it hinges on talks with the Labour Minister on Monday. Ryan Broom has more.
The parties are set to meet with Labour Minister Senator Dr. Esther Bayasuku at 10 Monday morning at the offices of the Labour Department in Warren St. Michael. The NUPW and some former NCC workers are upset that the Employment Rights Tribunal is not yet up and running to hear their case. It's for that reason, and following a meeting days ago with former workers at the union's Dalkeith headquarters, that the NUPW has decided to take industrial action. Acting General Secretary of the NUPW, Rosalind Smith, tells CBC News that following a meeting of the council on Thursday, the protest action was ratified. There has been a mixed reaction to this development. The Barbados Private Sector Association has described the threat of industrial action as bad news. The Barbados Workers Union, which represents another group of former NCC workers, says it will give the tribunal the opportunity to hear the matter. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tracy Shuffler, says Sagicor's pending move of its parent company is regrettable, but also a protective strategy under the circumstances. In stating the Chamber's position, she said for some time, the BCCI has expressed concern about the impact of ongoing downgrades on the cost of borrowing, both for government and the private sector. She said the fact is that boards of directors and executive management teams must make decisions which protect and improve the value of their shareholders' investments. The BCCI president added that growth and recovery are key to a better economy, improved investment rating, and a return of investor confidence. In other news now, a young man who was shot yesterday following an incident with police in Chapman Lane, the city, has been released from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Public Relations Officer Acting Assistant Superintendent David Welch has confirmed that the man is now in police custody. He was taken to the hospital after sustaining a gunshot wound to his upper body. Police have not officially commented on the circumstances that led to yesterday's shooting. When a CBC News team visited the area yesterday evening, some residents were expressing anger about how police handled the situation. Police officers continued to maintain a presence in the area throughout yesterday evening and into last night. The Barbados Fire Service has warned against burning rubbish. This after a homeowner's rubbish fire reportedly got out of hand, costing him his Pilgrim Road Christchurch home. It was all hands on deck just after 8 this morning as the blaze got out of control, spreading from the rubbish to the home and then to the nearby trees. A crew from the Barbados Light and Power Company was also on hand. However, the efforts by residents and the Barbados Fire Service were not enough to save the house. The homeowner, reportedly a contractor, only managed to save a few of his tools. The home and contents were destroyed. Coming up after this break, Barbados beefing up its ability to deal with fraud. But first, we'd like to hear from you on this question. Do you think industrial action at this time by the NUPW will make a difference? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. The results at the end of the news.
We are still in the year 1952. The month is May. The legislature is in session.
My fellow assemblymen, as Barbados is the most windward island, if facilities were made for coaling and provisioning, a large and almost entirely new trade could be developed. Furthermore, I think it would be decidedly better to construct a breakwater with blocks of concrete, grooved and tongued for the outer wall, and return some distance at the end of the internal wall, instead of attempting to make a mammoth structure by depositing plastic concrete in the siltong seabed.
This is the story of Barbados' seaportal, the port of Bridgetown, and it's coming soon to CBC TV8.
The Central Bank of Barbados and the Frank Cullimore Literary Endowment invite you to its 17th Annual Awards. Keynote speaker Sherwin Walters will speak on Partners in Multi-Focus Journey, the Writer and the Society Again, at the Grand Salle Tom Adams Financial Center on Saturday, January 10th at 6 p.m.
Be at the Naniki Barbados Music Festival January 15, 17, and 18, featuring Denise Jana, David Rudder, and Maxi Priest. Be at the Frank Cullimore Hall January 15th as Denise Jana presents Ella, a tribute to jazz legend Ella Fitzgerald. Then on January 17th, Maxi Priest takes over Holders, and David Rudder unites the Caribbean on January 18th on the lush grounds of Naniki. Other featured acts include Debbie Reefer, Nikita and C4, Albert Olton, and Biggie Irie. Tickets are $80 general, $250 VIP. Visit any ticket outlet or nanikimusic.com. The Naniki Barbados Music Festival is brought to you by JetBlue, DB South Winds, Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., The Sandpiper, Settlers Beach, and TicketPal. Just a little bit longer, baby.
Barbados is enhancing its capacity to deal with fraud cases. A number of key stakeholders essential to the fight, including police and customs officers, are being trained. Today is the final day of a 2-day fraud and asset forfeiture confiscation workshop at the Baobab Towers. Director of Public Prosecutions, Charles Leacock, says fraud, along with child sex abuse cases, have been languishing in the court system for too long, with fraud cases requiring lots of documents. He said fraud has always been problematic.
It's grossly embarrassing that many times these cases come to the court, they are before the courts 5 years later than when they first occurred. So it is with that in mind, and particularly with the fraud cases that have been stuck in the system for so long, that I thought we should enhance our capacity to address this particular typology, and that is why we have fashioned this workshop this way.
Mr. Leacock, though, is reporting some successes.
Increasingly, and very recently, even before our courts, we've seen East European frauds, the skimming of ATM machines for substantial sums of money. And thankfully, on that occasion, because of the vigilance of citizens, those matters have been resolved, and much of the money, if not all of the money, has been recovered and actually paid into the consolidated fund. We would like to have many more successes like that to address the real crime problem, that is, getting the money out of the crime.
Young people are finding crafty ways to conceal their smoking habits from parents. That suggestion from Director of Drug Education and Counseling Services, Roger Husbands. He is appealing to parents to seek help from his organization so that they can know the signs.
The new trend today is young people know how to smoke and let the wind blow it one side, take off the shirt while they're smoking, what with soap and toothpaste and toothbrush to hide the fact that they're smoking. So some parents don't even have a clue that their children are smoking. That's why we're advocating that parents, even from the young age, when you start to see any behavioral changes, any issues, it may be slight, you may think it's puberty, but you may not know. But we're advocating parents to get to counseling, bring a third person in that may be able to articulate the situation a little better to you. Before the person gets worse.
Mr. Husband says young people need to realize if they succumb to peer pressure to smoke illegal substances, they will be supporting a drug industry.
The whole aspect of young people getting together and sharpening each other has been happening, where they're teaching the younger ones how to smoke it so you don't get catch. The whole idea is that we need to realize that drugs is a business. It is in business reality, it is a business. There are men out there who survive off of the drug industry. They cannot do without having marijuana sold every day, and therefore they try to increase their client base. So what they would do is give a little boy the marijuana one joint free, then you get another one free. But then after you get so addicted to it, you're now involved in it, I start to teach you how to use it so you don't get catch, what to do to get the money, where to go to get the money, how to transition it, how to sell it, how to make money as well too. So this we have to look at the drug industry a little different now in this generation and look at the fact that it is a business.
Barbados Ambassador to China, Dr. Charleston Brathwaite, is the latest Barbadian to launch a book. The book, 10 Defining Moments, An Extraordinary Journey, captures the 10 most defining moments in the author's personal and professional life. Last evening's launch at the Cricket Legends of Barbados was attended by several prominent persons, including Professor Senator Sir Henry Fraser and Dame Maisie Barker Welch. Dr. Brathwaite says the book's origins can be traced to 40 years ago.
The book expresses the importance of family, goals, commitment, belief in God's guidance, and identifies some keys to my success. It also shows how education has been and continues to be the foundation on which we have built our nation and the advancement of our people.
Deputy Principal of the University of the West Indies Kefil Campus, Professor Pedro Welch, has described the book as comprehensive.
Additionally, we are exposed to the intrigues of intra-regional and international politics, as we're given a peep behind the appointment of a Director General of ICA. So here in one text we have biography, we have shades of bureaucratic espionage, campaign strategy, and romance.
Regional news next, but first a reminder, we'd like to hear from you on this question. Do you think industrial action at this time by the NUPW will make a difference? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. Those results are